Okay everyone, so in the last video we learned about custom functions, we learned about function declarations, what is a function name, and how we can try to call functions. And we worked on some arguments, we learned about arguments that can be stored in parameters that are considered to be as variables that can store some arguments that we're passing inside of the function invocation operator once we go and invoke the function or call the function. And we did see some examples of the default value for arguments. We were able to set that up. So in this lesson, I just want to talk a little bit about the built-in functions, or these are functions that are not custom made by the programmer, but instead it's part of the language, and these are predefined functions that has already been created for us so that we can use them in our projects. We won't be able to cover everything, but let's try to tackle string, math, and array functions here. So this will have some examples, and you can get the ball rolling in trying to explore further. Depending on the projects that you're going to be building, you might be able to utilize one category of the following list of categories for built-in functions. So let's just look at the most common first in this lesson. So one thing that I just want to pull out here will be the documentation, and you can go to php.net to read some more documentations. And if I search string here, we should be able to find for the functions under the functions. And let's see, I'm just going to go search for strings. Let's start to see, we do have the strings here, and we can see string functions. And as I mentioned, we won't be able to cover everything, but let's try to look at some of the examples that we can use for some of the projects that we will be building. So just have in mind that this is a perfectly normal thing if you're going to go through documentations, reading the different references. So you don't have to memorize things, especially when you're trying to build things here. It's more on you being able to look up what you need on the internet, try to figure out. Probably you would need to do some research for you to be able to figure out a logic in the application that you're trying to build. And of course, try to read documentations on languages, specific languages that you're learning. Specifically right now, we're looking up the documentation for PHP. So this is an essential part of you becoming a developer. So perfectly normal to look at the information that is provided to us by the developers who develop the language. And right now, I just want to look into the string replace function here. And it says here, replace all occurrence of the search string with the replacement strings. So let's go look that up. And we do have some more information here when we try to look at the details. We have parameters, what we can try to place inside of the function invocation operator, as we can see here in the example. So let's just go and have some examples for that. So I've just created the built-in function here, so at least we'll have a fresh start here. And I've already added that on our page here. As you can see, I can just go to lessons and built-in functions. And now, let me just minimize that. Just close this here. And let's start to go and work with our body here. And then let's include the footer. PHP. Let's just go copy what we have here, just so at least won't need to see. And of course, we'll need to have our header. Let's refresh that. And let's have a div in the middle. Fresh. And I think we need to have div class functions also. So this will have that reference space from where we can try to work on. So now, what we want to do here is to use one of the string functions, and I'm just going to declare here a variable a, and I'm just going to add some string data type here for saying hello world. And then let's to echo out a line break. Let's refresh just to see. Let's first try to echo out a lesson A for testing and a line break. So we do have that hello world appearing. And now what we want to do is to use the string replaced built-in function, and we want to pass in the text that we want to change. Let's say this world string, that will be our first argument, and in the second argument is the string that we want to replace what we tried to find. And as mentioned in the documentation, all occurrences of the search string, so we will be doing some search for a string and we will be passing in a replacement string. So a search string, replacement, or replacing the string, and then we have a reference to the subject. So that means we'll be passing in that variable a. So what are we going to get? And of course, we'll have to echo out that function. So we can see we are able to replace the world text with the word Rodrigo with the exclamation mark. So that's the string replaced built-in function in the PHP language. So if we try to read through this again, we are searching for the word world, and we're going to be replacing it with the word Rodrigo or the string Rodrigo with that exclamation mark, and we're looking for a reference subject, which is the variable that contains the characters for our hello world text here, and that's the subject from where we will be searching for the word world. So another function that I want to cover here is for us to be able to look for, let's just search here. I just want to search for this string length, or we want to get that the length of the string. So returns the length of the given string, and we would want to measure the length for that string. Let's go back here and let's have here measure the length of a given string. So we will be using that string length, and you would see we are just going to be using this identifier for the function name. Now let's give it a string. Let's have a declaration here for a variable string, and then let's give it some text. Those people who knows know but those people who wants to learn listens. Sooner or later, those people who listens knows more than those people who knows. From the Smart Leadership book of Jonathan Udalowicz. Let's just say, I'll see that. So this is just a string that contains a number of characters, right? And now we want to go and try to know the length of this string that string variable that contains the string of characters that will be stored here in this variable. So if we try to look at this, and let's set to echo it out on the browser, let's say I'm going to use this built-in function, and how many characters would this variable contain? Let me just go back here, and we do get 172. So that means that would include the spaces. So if I go and let's say string 2 just for testing out, and yes, you are doing great. So if we try to count this out, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. If I did not make a mistake here, let's have that string length and string 2, and that should be a semicolon, not a dot. And we do get 24. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. And I think it's not index based to 0. So we're not getting, we're counting it in a normal manner. So it should be, let's have string 3, space, normal. Let's just go and count this out. And we can try to do this with the same value. So we get 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, including the space. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that means we're counting the characters including the space, and we're counting normally, not index based to 0. So I hope that you got the idea with regards to how to use the string replace. This might be something that you might be able to use in some cases. So let's try to, I just want to show you one more thing here. Let's just copy this or some more examples. So string length, let's just go get the first one here. And let's say I would want to have, instead of string length, string, let's go back to the documentation and check out the more examples here. And I just want to go look for the common things that you might encounter when you're trying to build a project. And one common function that you might be able to use will be the string to uppercase, mix strings to uppercase. So let's go and try to use that. So that means we can say string to upper. And if we go back to our browser, now we should be able to see those people who knows know, but those people who wants to learn listen. Sooner or later, those people who listens knows more than those people who knows. That came from Jonathan Udelowitz book, Smart Leadership, one of the books that I loved reading during my college years. Let's have the string to, and we do see there the string to lowercase. Yes, you are doing great. So I think that's another example. And one last example here, if for example we wanted to go and look for a certain position, let's see. I just want to have string post here. Find the position of the first occurrence of a case-insensitive substring. We have some sort of a haystack, string haystack, string needle, and then an offset of 0. Let's have an example here just to declare the variable name. Let's say Rod Lopez. Then let's have a character. Then let's say I'm going to look for R. And then let's try to echo out that method stripos, and we want to pass it in the variable name, and then for the string haystack, then the string needle will be represented by that character R here. What are we going to get displayed on the browser? So we do get 0 for the R. How about O? We get that 1. So you would see we're able to go. What if we say RO? Then we have D here. So we're getting here the, if I go and try to comment this out, we're getting 0 because we're referencing this letter R, and we have this character containing the letter R. So in this case, we're not counting it by normal counting, but we're counting it by the index 0 or index base, starting from 0, 1, 2, and so on. So if I go and try to reference D here, let me just comment here that just as a proof of concept, we're getting 2, 0, 1, 2. What if we reference the character space? What are we going to get? Just so that we won't get confused. We're getting that 3. 0, 1, 2, and 3, including the space. And if we are going to reference the character, let's say the letter L, Lopez, so it will be reading that letter L. So if I go and we're getting that for 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if I just say character O, what are we going to get? Because we have 2 letter O's. So are we going to get the first one? So we are getting the first one. And let's just look at the documentation. Why is it getting the first one? First occurrence of a case-insensitive substring in a string. We don't have this. So take note, we have that first occurrence. That's why it's getting the first first character O. But if we don't have that character O, we do see that it's going to go 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that means the index of O here is on the index 4 of the string data type that contains letters that are considered to be as characters based on index-based counting. So I just wanted to show you that. So I think that's it for this lesson. Let's go over some bits more of built-in functions in the succeeding lessons. So thank you and take care.